Welcome to Sacred Strategy, the business and energy podcast where bold strategies meet the magic of energy and intuition. I'm Sora Schilling, sacred spaceholder, business alchemist, and creator of the Devoted Archetypes, Sovereign Selling, and the Devoted Energy Coaching Model. For over a decade, I've guided thousands of coaches and spaceholders to build thriving, soul-aligned businesses that create impact and life-changing money. Let's cut through the noise of traditional strategies and uncover your unique medicine. Use the devoted archetypes to become a transformational spaceholder and learn to sovereignly sell with integrity. This podcast is your invitation to step into your magic and create a blissfully abundant business and life filled with curiosity, awe, and wonder. Let's dive in. Hey, Sacred Strategist. It's so good to be back in this space. I had 2 full weekends. Last weekend, I was attending a group experience at the co-working space that I go to. And during that time, I was a participant, really dropping into understanding more about stress and the nervous system. And then the weekend before that, I was holding space at the same location at the co-working place that I go to. And we had 9 divine beings that drove and flew in from all over the US. And we dropped in to talk about 2 very specific things. And there are 2 truths that really changed everything for me and why I built LUSH Business Mastermind and why I truly believe that it's not like anything else out there, which I hope every single one of you and your offer is that, right? Because your offer is based on you, your medicine, and how you hold space. That means it's unlike anything else out there. So I say that not from a marketing ploy, but from a place of recognizing that we each have this unique medicine that really showcases our brilliance. And therefore, we should undeniably celebrate that it is different. And so here's what I've been witnessing. And honestly, it's broken my heart every single time that I witness it. See, every time I come together with community members, potentially new people that enter my space, like yourself, you might be brand new to this podcast. I see and witness the brilliance in you, that you are impeccable space holders. These are badass women who can facilitate the most profound transformation in circle, facilitate in group programs, healers who could hold the most tender, sacred moments with such exquisite presence and precision. And I can see how each and every person's work is pure medicine. But when it comes to actually filling those circles, when it comes to actually inviting people into their offerings, I see them freeze up. They feel grossed by it. They tell me things like, I wish the right people would just find me. Or if I just work only the energetics, they'll be attracted to me. Or sales makes me feel so icky. I hate the vibe around it. Or I know I should be better at this whole marketing thing, but it just feels so wrong, full stop. And here's what really breaks my heart. These same people who say that to me could hold space for someone's deepest wounds, right? Who could witness transformation without flinching, who can go to the depths of one's soul and has really understood the art of facilitation. And yet they're barely keeping their businesses afloat. And so what I find is there's a massive disconnect happening. And for the longest time, I couldn't quite name what was the missing piece until I took some time to really dive in. The missing piece based on what I noticed, right? That's based on my medicine. And it really struck me to the core. So the first one is this idea and future of leadership. And that, yes, we speak a lot about the divine feminine leadership, sacred leadership, but the other portion of that, if we can clarify, is the idea of no longer it being hierarchal. that it is about being in a space of sacred reciprocity and it's a circular experience. And if we're going to teach space holders to lead this way with their clients, then shouldn't we embody this for ourselves and within our business as well? If we can facilitate great transformational experiences and hold space for ourselves and the soul of our business, then all of a sudden we can build our entire business and our coaching containers in a really incredible way that allows us to notice that sales is simply sacred invitations that help others who are in need of our work to finally understand what it is we do, for them to then be able to have self agency to make the choice to enter in. And then when they do, they enter into a space of also deep reflection, presence, reverence, and sovereignty, and honoring their leadership inside the container as well, right? The other thing that was the massive disconnect for me that I noticed in the community is that sales doesn't have to be separate, that we can begin to really let go of the idea that sales has to be icky, that we have to force ourselves to fill our offers, that we have to force an offer down someone's throat and make them join or convince them to do anything, because that is not what space holders do in general. And if we saw the art of selling and allow it to be all the principles of facilitation of space holding, then we've got something there. They are actually one of the same if we see it that way. So, these two revelations is what became the entire foundation of LUSH Business Mastermind. Sacred circular leadership through space holding and facilitation, and honoring that sales is not icky because, again, when we honor leadership and space holding, we can hold anything and everything, including the growth of our business, through inviting people into our containers. And so today, I desire to take you deeper into why this matters and why this shift could help support you as a sacred entrepreneur, as a coach, healer, and of course, as an impeccable space holder. So let me name something that might feel a little uncomfortable to hear. For most of us, honestly, which is we've been trained in hierarchal models of leadership, including in space holding. Even if you've done your own deep healing work, this wound and this programming is something that we may not always be consciously aware that we're still participating in. And so the chances are high that the way that you were taught to coach or to hold space was actually built on hierarchy. I'm talking about these subtle hierarchical ways in which it shows up in our everyday as space holders. The experts on the top that's dispensing wisdom that we so desire to live that experience is hierarchical. Yes, absolutely. But also, if we bring it down to the everyday of how we're holding space, when we recognize, for example, there's still a part of me that feels as if I need to over deliver in order for my clients to feel like this is valuable. Or, ooh, I feel like my client needs to be fixed and they are here, and I am going to try my hardest to make sure that the outcome they want is the thing that I deliver. Or I really want to create a community, but I feel very uncomfortable when they start making friendships themselves and they start having their own pods of connection, communication, and get togethers. I feel like that shouldn't happen. Or I'm afraid that if someone rises to the occasion and also enters into a space of leadership in my group program, that people are going to want to hire them and no longer work with me. Do you see how that works? It's not always from a conscious place. It's not always from a place where we want to even name it, but it's something in our humanness that we feel. And so these understandings and these insights is what helps us begin to break down that hierarchical programming that has been the model, whether it's conscious or unconscious, in the way that we experience leadership. So even the most well-meaning coaches and healers can replicate these extractive masculine models without even realizing it, because it's what we know, it's what we're taught, it's what we've been taught taught is, quote, professional. And so when we begin to really unravel this within ourselves and how we're showing up as coaches and healers, we begin to realize that we're trying to keep our shit together and not look like we are so confused. But as humans, we're constantly confused. We're always mucking things up. Nothing is perfect. But because we're trying so hard to be put together, of course, our nervous system will get shot and we go into a space of burnout. You become the sole source of wisdom when you're entering into this hierarchical nature of leadership. So, whether that's you and your one on one client, you in your membership, you in your group program, you hosting a retreat, you holding an event, if you are showing up, believing that you are the sole source of wisdom, meaning that everything depends on you showing up and making sure nothing is left to the wayside, it creates a space of codependency, and your clients expect all of that from you. They are going to expect you to provide and provide and provide rather than them coming from a communal space of helping one another. And so this is where sometimes your clients literally can't make decisions without checking in with you first. And sometimes it's a space where, again, it creates this unsustainable business where you're the one holding all the power and responsibility in your business and not allowing others, including your team members or your clients, to rise up to the occasion and be responsible for themselves and their healing. So there's no spaciousness, there's no ease, there's no room to breathe. So, what does circular leadership actually look like? It means power with instead of power over, right? It's a communal sense of give and receive. It means trusting in the collective wisdom of the circle rather than being the person and the go to. It means deep witnessing versus constantly giving advice. It means that you pause more, you ask more questions, you release any expectation. It also means that there's reciprocity versus extraction, whether that is you extracting from others, or typically when you're the coach with a client, feeling like your community members and your clients are constantly extracting from you. So we create space where what emerges is everyone coming to a space of harmony leadership rather than this space of control. And so here's what I came to understand. When you shift from hierarchical to circular leadership, you don't just become a better coach or healer, you transform the entire experience for your clients. The whole container shifts. So think about it. When you're not the sole source of wisdom, you're not depleted anymore. You can do this all day long. The wisdom flows through the circle, through the collective field you're holding. You also don't feel this hyper vigilant sense of responsibility for everyone. Your clients become self sourced and empowered, which means they get better results and they stay with you longer because they're truly transforming, not just being codependent on you showing up, but because they are taking active responsibility for their own healing and their own growth. It's the reciprocal nature of a circular leadership model. You're not just pouring constantly outward, you're being filled by the magic of what's moving through the circle. And the business implications, oh my gosh, they're massive. When your clients are truly transformed through circular leadership, they stay longer. They refer others because the experience is unlike anything else they've ever encountered. You're not just building a client list that you have to generate over and over again with new people. You're building a community, a devotional space, a place where friendships are born and sustainability becomes natural, not something you're constantly forcing. My desire is to see friendships grow far beyond their connection with me. And I've seen that happen time and time again, where I've seen people in my space, they fall in love with one another, and they travel across oceans to see each other on a regular basis. And I love that. It doesn't have to be about me. It's about them moving on their journey and recognizing that I helped create a container where that friendship started to bloom. And that in itself is enough for me. And so inside Lush, I structure everything around the circular leadership. We have what I call the sacred leadership circle, which is a space for the questions that leaders rarely ask out loud because you think that it's so wrong to ask or you should know it or it feels a little too vulnerable to ask. And this is where peer to peer wisdom can really support you. It's not about me teaching down to you from this elevated expert position, right? Please. I just know certain things because I've experienced it. I've tried it. But that doesn't mean that you don't have your own experience, thoughts, feelings, and suggestions as well. The luminaries witness and support each other. Yes, I hold the container and offer my coaching, but I'm not the only source of insight. And so we're co creating together, we're weaving wisdom collectively. And what does this do? This creates this profound connection. It shows you what it actually feels like to be in a circular container, not just theoretically. And so to be held in this way helps you really breathe into it. Your nervous system starts calming down. So you can then create the same experience for your own clients. You don't just want to learn about circular leadership in this intellectual way. You want to embody it. You want to feel it. You want to experience it. You want to see it modeled. You want to live it. You want to test it and try it out. The experience is what then provides that deep sense of knowing and lives in your bones. And once you feel it there, you'll never go back to the old hierarchical way. Okay, now let's talk about the second reason why Lush is the container that I've created for the reason I created it, which is sales is a sacred space holding process. And so I know that when you hear the word sales, you might want to skip ahead or just end this podcast episode, right? I get it, but stay with me because what I'm about to share could completely change your entire relationship with inviting people into your work. So here's what I noticed. What I've witnessed is space holders struggle with sales. It makes total sense, right? You would say. You were trained to hold space, not to sell. Sales feels like convincing people, manipulating them, pushing them. And you've been taught sales tactics through someone actually teaching you, or because you've experienced them over and over again. And you're like, this is gross, where it was designed to be sold a product, not a transformation. And you've been almost pushed and forced. So, what do we do about this? Because we have a business and we have the need to exchange money and make sure that the investment that is monetary is going to also support us and help us grow and take care of our expenses. So, we either avoid selling altogether and then we stay at a space of constantly not having enough cash flow, or we force ourselves through these quote proven strategies that makes us feel absolutely gross inside and we just don't want to do it ever again, right? Or we charge or undercharge massively because asking for money feels so freaking uncomfortable. And so I've watched this pattern play out in myself over and over again, not just in my clients, but myself over and over again. Right. And so brilliant healers and coaches with empty practices, not cool. Coaches who could facilitate literally $1 million transformations and they're pricing their work at $97, not cool. Space holders who could hold anyone through anything, the depths of their wounds into a space of breath and hope would completely freeze when it came to a sales conversation. No, not cool. And so, what is the result of this? It means that folks, including possibly you, listener, is constantly in a place of feast or famine because you cannot consistently invite people in when you're avoiding the actual invitation, right? And so I know that for years until recently, my relationship with selling has been so not good. I don't even know how else to describe it. It was not healthy whatsoever. I would constantly run away from it. And what I recognized is going through this year-long journey around what does sovereign selling look like? If I was to go ahead and put my own devotional understanding and change the way that we can have a conversation around selling, what would this look like? And recognizing that I feel that one of my natural superpowers and gifts is around space holding. So if I know space holding, if I can begin to translate that into selling, what would occur? And oh my goodness, it has been epic because I now understand certain principles that would help us actually really love having sales conversations. And so, sales conversations is actually just space holding with a specific intention, right? What if exact same skills that made you brilliant at facilitation were exactly the same skills that you would use and cross over to make you magnetic in sales? So let me break this down a little bit, okay? Now, I will go through a deeper training around this next month, and I hope that you join that. All you have to do is DM me on Instagram at Devoted Way and let me know that you're down for that, and I'll keep you on the wait list and share with you more about it. It's going to be accessible. It's going to be epic. I cannot wait to share. But for now, let's go ahead and go through this overview. Think about deep listening. In Circle, you listen for what's unspoken, for what lives beneath the words being said, right? As a coach. In a sales conversation, you're doing the same exact thing. You're listening for the true desire that's underneath. Why? Because they came to you asking to have a conversation about working with you. That means they're looking for someone. If not you, it'll be someone else. And so, if we can take a moment to deeply listen and understand the real fears that's blocking them and the soul's calling that's trying to come through and hold that space for them, they will know that they can trust you. Okay. Or holding space for resistance, right? So this is again important. In Circle, you don't push through someone's resistance, especially when they're not ready. That's not cool. You create safety for it to surface and to be witnessed. Same thing in sales. You honor the objections as sacred, their fears as information, not obstacles you need to overcome. You're holding space for their entire process and not forcing a specific outcome. We want to honor their resistance and recognize the safety in it and also witness them so that they can begin to soften into what might be available on the other side. Okay, the next is mirroring and reflection. You do this as a coach all the time, right? You hold space for your client, you mirror and you reflect. In Circle, you reflect back what you're sensing so they can see themselves more clearly. In sales, you're doing the same thing, mirroring back their vision and also their blocks so they can begin to make a conscious, empowered choice by processing what they have verbally already said to you. All right, next, creating safety. In Circle, you establish clear containers, you get consent for what's about to be unfolding, you create guidelines. In sales, you remove all the pressure and create genuine space for sovereign yes and a sovereign no. It's not a coerced yes. It's not a manipulative yes. It's truly a sovereign yes by first acknowledging what is their sacred no. The no gives them space and safety to open up to now being curious about what is possible. No's and yeses are both so incredible. We should honor them both equally. Okay, next, witnessing without attachment. So in Circle, you hold space for someone's process without needing them to get somewhere, to a destination, to a goal, to a result, right? And so in sales, you're holding space for their decision without them needing to say yes. You trust that the right people are going to come in, and the people who are not ready may say no. But remember, a no is just simply a moment in time to help them anchor in that they have agency and now are open to discussion or possibilities of what's on the other side. And so, therefore, witnessing without attachment helps create that trust bond, which is then something that creates a relationship so that people don't have to say yes now. It might be yes tomorrow, 6 months' time, or a year or 5 years. But remember, we're here for the long run when it comes to our business. Okay. And now, lastly, it's an invitation. It's not convincing. In Circle, you always invite people to go deeper into their own truth, right? You say, I invite you to. Same thing in sales. You're simply extending an invitation. You're extending your hand, you're extending and opening your heart, inviting them into a container if it feels aligned. You're not convincing them of anything. They're going to know their own truths. As long as we acknowledge and we don't sidestep their fears, we witness them move through their resistance, and then we invite them. Do you see it? Do you see how sales is space holding? It's the same sacred practice. And if you can hold space in sales, you've epically deepened your ability to hold space in any sort of container. That is mastery level support. right? When you really embody this, and I truly mean embody it, so that you just feel so delighted by the conversation and you're not just understanding it intellectually, everything changes. You stop feeling gross because why would that feel gross? You're holding space and you're doing your most sacred work. You're witnessing, inviting, you're holding space for a sovereign decision to emerge. I mean, that is divine. And so this is what I teach inside of Lush. We call it sovereignly selling. And it's the art of invitation versus convincing. And so we speak about in practice sales conversations being an extension of your medicine. You're not trying to convince anyone of anything. You're creating a space for clarity to emerge. Because remember, a no becomes just as sacred as a yes, because both are sovereign choices. You trust that the right people are going to enter in when it feels aligned, and you hold the vision and the energy of the invitation with no attachment. And so I teach you what this looks like by creating and helping you to create sales scripts, which again is anchoring. Just like Circle, you create an outline. You want to create an outline for anything just to help you feel calmer in your nervous system so you can truly be present when you're holding space for someone else. And then when you're showing up, you're going to show up without feeling depleted. You'll be curious. It's going to be lovely. And honestly, with my luminaries inside of LUSH Business Mastermind, they absolutely love the sales process because it finally feels aligned with their deepest gifts, their values, and their beliefs as well. Okay, so I hope that this supports you in giving you an overarch understanding of the two main principles as to why Lush is like nothing else out there and why I absolutely love it, and that it is an extension of me and my medicine. For every single one of you, it's discerning what kind of mastermind you're looking for, what type of facilitator you're looking for, what is that next level of information that you don't know until you know it that you are possibly needing. And that is how you may make your choice into entering into a potential container. So when you step inside of Lush, you're not building a better business, you're becoming a better coach, a better leader, a better space holder. And that ripples into every single client you serve, every circle you facilitate, and every life you touch with your medicine. It's legacy work, it's a paradigm shift. And this will change the way that you just show up in general. So I hope that you consider Lush. If so, then you can go to soarschilling.com/lush. Go ahead and place in your application. I cannot wait to have a call with you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. All right. Bye for now.